So, today was the obvious release of episode 3 of Hawkeye, and personally, I think it was an absolutely amazing episode. I think it's probably my favourite out of the 3 episodes that are out at the moment. Obviously, we're still waiting for the rest of the 3 that come out every Wednesday. But yeah, I thought this episode was really good, and my favourite out of the 3 that are out. And obviously, once all the episodes are out, I will be doing a overall review of Hawkeye, breaking down, going over each episode and stuff like that. So if you can't wait for that, so if you want to see that video, please tell us down below and tell us what you thought of this episode of Hawkeye today. But no, I thought, other than it being an amazing episode with a cliffhanger at the end, with by the way, if you don't want to see spoilers for Hawkeye, I think that's pretty obvious to know before clicking on the video. But if you don't want spoilers, don't watch this. Don't watch Hawkeye, then come back. But obviously, as we know, there was a cliffhanger at the end, and I think the next episode is going to be amazing. Obviously, Yelena coming in soon as well. Obviously, and I thought this episode hinted a lot at an obvious villain in the Marvel comics, and that is Kingpin. Now, obviously we saw Echo in this. We saw a bit of her backstory at the beginning when she was young. She is deaf, and I think her character is absolutely incredible. And I think obviously as she's getting her own show in the future of the MCU, I think her character will be amazing. And going forward in the MCU, she's going to be important. Maybe she'll be a Thunderbolt. Maybe she'll be a part of the Dark Avengers. We aren't too sure yet. But obviously, as we know, as we do here in the Hawkeye episode today, that there is someone, as Clint does say, there is someone above. Obviously, Echo. Obviously, her father was part of the Tracksuit Mafia. As we know, Ronan did kill. Clint as Ronan did kill Echo's father. Now, as we saw in the episode, and now Echo obviously wants to find Ronan. Obviously, as she saw, Ronan is back. So, yeah, as we saw when she was young, we see that her father tells her that she will be getting picked up by her uncle. Now we do see a pretty big guy, and the hand, now this is just assumptions that this could be Kingpin, and it does look very familiar, and I think this could be a good way to introduce Kingpin to the MCU. I think it would be perfect, obviously making him the big guy controlling Echo to do all of this, obviously, as it would make sense, obviously Kingpin buying Avengers Tower as well, obviously after we know Tony sold it. So it will be very cool to see Kingpin in the MCU going forward. Obviously, as we know, Kingpin in the comics is a Spider-Man character mainly, but you know what Marvel have done in the past, I think Kingpin going forward could be a really big villain we could see, obviously along with the likes of Doctor Doom, obviously Kang the Conqueror that we were getting as well. There's so many more villains that that the MCU can introduce to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Obviously, Marvel can introduce, and I do think they are, as they're starting off with Kang and now Kingpin, so I think there's going to be a lot more getting introduced, and I do think Kingpin will be introduced, as the actor is supposed to appear in episode 6 and 5, so I think episode 4 is going to be possibly the appearance of Kingpin, a proper appearance of him, as we do know, obviously, there is someone bigger above Echo telling her to do all this, what obviously she wants. Ronan, obviously, as she knows, he's back after he killed her father, and yeah, I do think this will be an amazing way to introduce Kingpin to the MCU with the likes of Echo getting our own show as well, and I do think that he will make many appearances in the future of the MCU, because I do think he's an amazing villain, and he's the sort of character, like, he kind of links to Dreykov as well, kind of, he might just sit back a bit and he'll get other people to do the work for him. So yeah, I'd love to see Kingpin in the MCU, and I think this can introduce a lot of more characters as well, along with Kingpin in this show, and I do think that along with, obviously it did leave it on a cliffhanger last episode, like I said earlier, obviously with, obviously as we saw at the end with the sword and stuff, and obviously Ronan's sword being held by, obviously Clint is now in there, so yeah, I do think that Kingpin will be introduced to the MCU in this show, and yeah, tell us what you think about this theory about Kingpin obviously getting added to the MCU, obviously in the future, as we did see her uncle, possibly being Kingpin. That was just an assumption, and obviously the big guy above Echo who's controlling and telling her who she's working for, which is probably Kingpin. And yeah, obviously with Yelena coming in as well, which I'm very excited for. I can't wait to see where the show goes. Obviously, Yelena's my favourite character, so I cannot wait to see where the show goes with that. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen yet, But I do think Kingpin going forward in the MCU is going to be a hella big villain, and yeah, along with the likes of the other MCU Marvel villains that will be kept on getting added to the MCU down the line in the future projects of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which looks very bright. So if you did enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Tell us what you think of episode 3 of Hawkeye, and tell us how you feel about Kingpin getting added to the MCU with this show. I hope you had a good day, and goodbye.